Hey everyone, welcome back to Fletcher Wolf Racing. This is the Fletcher Wolf Racing shop. Got some rear end work to do from the rear end out of our Lazer Dirt late model that we ran in super late model last year. The car is right behind me. We got kind of some exciting ideas for this car. It will not be our primary car, but I want to make sure that we got everything ready. So rear end needs a lot of cleanup. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start by pulling the hub assembly off and the bird cage off, and then we'll take a look at that. Got this little mic on today, so we're going to try that out. I have no idea how well it's going to work. Never used one of these before, so something new today. A little bit of background on this car since we haven't talked too much about it. It's a 2015 Lazer chassis. I've had it for about 4 years now. This was our first dirt late model, and it's been a good stepping stone for us, but we're ready to upgrade. So next year we'll be running a 2025 Warrior Comanche late model. But we've got some exciting plans for the Lazer, and that starts with making sure that all our parts and componentry is ready for when we need it. The rear end is dirty, so I'm pulling parts off so that I can clean it well. We're going to start with the hub assembly and the bird cages, pull those off, take a look at those, and go from there. Then it needs a good cleaning. Everything needs a good cleaning, so we'll do that. Let's get some work done. Okay, so here is the right side of the rear end here. So I'm going to start with this hub assembly, and that rotor will come with it, and then this bird cage, and we'll get this axle tube to look something like this axle tube. I've already done this one. You can see the short about our sticky bearing. That's when I pulled that one apart, and I still got to pull these clamps off right here. So I'll do that as well, but we'll start on this side. First thing I'm going to do is pull this cap off so I can get the axle out. It's 3 Allen bolts, and then it does have a little bit of silicone underneath the cap, using Permatex easy disassembly silicone on all my stuff, which helps especially in applications like this because we pull the axles out on a somewhat regular basis. Good opportunity to test the mic since I'm standing a little farther away from the camera than normal. Drop us a comment if you think that the mic helped on the sound quality here. Never used one of these Rode mics. Kind of feels weird on my sweatshirt. Keeps poking me in the face, but if we get a little bit better video quality, then it's probably well worth it, huh? Pop that guy off just like that. Now I'll pull the axle out. Just comes out just like that. Now I need to pull this flange off, and you can see that we've got bolts here, and the bolts are safety wired, so I'm going to start by getting rid of this safety wire right here. It's one of those things we get asked questions about, well, how are you doing this? And I got all the safety wire out, by the way. We have people ask us how we're doing this from a, funding standpoint. It's a lot of sacrifice from our whole family, and that we can, we're fortunate enough to have some great partners to help us do this, and we're one foot in front of the other. Still very much a budget operation, but we're getting there. Got 5 bolts holding this drive flange on. These are 12-point bolts, so you need a 12-point socket, 7/16. So pull those guys out. I'm recording this on the Monday after the Chili Bowl. So to me, the new year almost doesn't start until the Chili Bowl. So I think we're officially into, come on, that's tight, 2025 now that we've got the Chili Bowl under our belt. Definitely a bucket list event for us in this shop. I raced an asphalt midget for a while, with the Focus motor in it. What I guess now would be a kind of like a D2 midget. I don't see too much of the Focus racing anymore. I kind of get that. Like, I think the series I ran is still around, but Focus Midget, especially on pavement, I think just didn't quite have enough horsepower to pass. One of the areas where you can kind of get a beat on somebody is on the throttle, and if you can get your power down just, you know, fractions of a second earlier, it gives you the opportunity to at least pull a wheel on somebody and get an opportunity to make a pass. Where the Focus Midget, I think, you know, 190 horsepower, it's just not quite enough to have that be an impact, right? Your throttle works more or less like an on-off switch. All right, a little silicone on this. I'm gonna tap it with a hammer, knock it off. There we go. Okay, so I gotta pull these two Allens, and then this little spacer comes out, this little locking ring spacer dealio, and then there's a nut in there that's threaded onto the axle tube, and so I'll get in there with my special socket, and we'll get that broke free and get that off. It's not very tight. That allows it to not pinch the bearings too hard. This is where like a bearing spacer really helps, because you can get enough torque on that nut without impacting the freeness of your hub. Okay, so there is that little ring, and that tab is where we lock it in place, right on that little tab right there. There is that nut I was talking about. And this anodized aluminum socket thing is the socket for it. Take that off of there like that. There is the nut. You can see there's a hole there. That's where that Allen threads in at to lock this guy down. Now we could pull the hub assembly. Just dumped a bunch of gear oil out, so that was real smart of me. Okie dokie, giant mess cleaned up. So now we're going to take a look at what we got with the hub off. Here's my hardware that I've pulled off so far. That's what the end of the axle tube looks like, and now we're going to pull this assembly right here. Bird cage, caliper mount, all of this is about to come off. Going to start with a little bit of cleanup here. Get some of that dirt and dust off the ends so we don't damage the axle tube as we slide the parts off. What the heck happened to my wrenches? Gross feeling. Allen bolt and eye lock, and then we got Allen bolts here from the caliper bracket to this bracket right here. Using Permatex silicone lubricant on this to help free it up a little bit. There we go. Pop. Regular one down. A little more Permatex silicone lubricant just to help it kind of come off there. Ta-da! All right, there's the caliper brackets off. Got another little bracket to pull here. This is where we're at, hub's off. That's where that nut screws on. This one right here. And then here's where my caliper bracket was. Now we'll pull the bird cage and we start with this bracket right here. There we go. Okay, now we're gonna pull the bird cage off. Probably need a little bit of tap. I need to clean this off, get all that dirt, grime, anything that could hang it up. Again, I'm gonna use a little bit of the super penetrant just underneath that bearing there. Try to free it up. A little bit on the back side as well. There she goes. We're off to the races. Okay, here we are. This is your hub. This is where I had my caliper mounts, and this is where the bird cage is mounted. I still got to pull this last bracket off. Now we'll take a closer look at the bird cage. Okay, here on the bench I've got the bird cage, and you can see how much geometry there is in this bird cage. This is the front face of it, that's why it's all beat up. These are probably about standard for the car, so they're probably 10 years old. Here's your 4-bar brackets. That's your top, that's your bottom. You can see we've got different locations. You can also change these plates and completely change the geometry on your bird cage. You got your shock pickup point, its location. It's also on this bolt-on bracket. So you've got a lot of options here. Here's your bird cage bearing. I'm gonna knock those out next, and then we'll do some cleaning on the bird cages. I've got this little mount thing, brace thing, clevis. It's not really any of those, but it's set my bird cage in there. A little bit of Permatex super penetrant, a brass drift, and a steel hammer. Just gonna pop nice and easy. Start working its way out. So we're starting to get it to come out. It's not there yet. Pretty much there now. Pop. There it is. Flip it over, do the other side. Ta-da! So now that we have the bird cages off the axle tubes, we have the bearings out of the bird cages, we've got the clamps off the axle tube as well as the caliper mounts. I'm going to collect everything and head over across the street to our friends at Covert Performance Development and put those parts in the ultrasonic cleaner so they can get cleaned up. I'll probably pull the brackets then off the bird cages and then go back into the ultrasonic cleaner with the brackets by themselves, get everything dried off, get them reassembled, new bearings put back in, and these will be ready to get back on the axle tubes. Got some work to do before that happens because we got to clean the rear end. I want to get in there and clean all the dirt and stuff off the rear end with no clamps, brackets, bird cages on it. So that's next. Car behind me, we've got some kind of cool plans for. That's the Lazer. That's what we've been working on today. New car a few weeks out. Really excited about that. We'll be having content on putting a new car together here very shortly. We've also got some exciting content with some other kind of racing car stuff. Some of it smaller and some of it bigger, but we've got some kind of exciting things in the works. So stay tuned. Make sure to like, subscribe. Really helps us out. Comment what you thought of the video. A share is always appreciated, and we will see you on the next one.